it's so hard to explain. Like something will take shape, and I'm like, okay, like here, like okay, I can see a nose, the chin, an eye, another eye. So I'm like, okay, let's work out of this. In a way. Artists are like inventors, you know, of like cultural ideas and cultural objects, and something that isn't like physical, it's very ethereal, you know. It's like we're essentially taking ideas, thoughts and feelings and kind of molding them into something that can like give them a physical body. I mean, you can have an idea today and it can sit with you for like a week or 2 weeks, but if you don't act on that idea, it will go to somebody else because that idea needed to come out. Like it was its time for it to be seen, you know. Like if Thomas Edison wasn't the person to act on the idea of the light bulb, it would have been somebody else, but like the light bulb wanted and needed to like come into existence. But that's why I think it's so important to be brave and to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, because there's so many ideas that we need to actualize in like life. Doubt and fear are kind of synonymous with one another, and I think personally in my life the endeavors that I've been most afraid of chasing or trying to do have been the ones that have like been most life-changing and most positive. So I think when I find myself like doubting if I can do something or I can achieve something, it's more of an indicator that that's the direction I need to go in. Like if something scares me, I look at it as an opportunity of growth. And I think that just goes, it's so much bigger than just creativity and art. It's like life. You know, I think a lot of us are afraid to do things that are good for us or healthy for us or going to benefit us in the long run, either because we're afraid of being judged, we're afraid of not being accepted, we're afraid of being outcast or laughed at. It's your job to kind of like show people how you want them to interpret you. The world will actually change itself to make space for you, like if you have the tenacity and bravery and boldness to like be absolutely relentless about it. You can actively work and rework the individual you are to become the thing that you want to become. Where I think 30, 40 years ago, things like racism, elitism, classism was so much at the helm of like how we define ourselves as people that we didn't have as much power. You need to build a level of confidence, a level of determination and perseverance that allows you to like follow the passion that you have against all odds. It puts you in a position of vulnerability, and people don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to say, yo, can you help me? I don't know where to start. Everybody wants to kind of move with this bravado of, oh, I know how to do this, or I'm famous here. That means like I know what I'm doing, when nobody really truly knows what they're doing, and there's always space for growth.
So how do you know when a piece is finished?
Oh, bro, also a fantastic question. I think you feel it, bro. Like, I think it's very easy to overwork a piece. I think it's a skill that you need to develop. But I think when I look at a piece and I kind of feel that like it's striking that nerve, like it's telling the story that I wanted to tell, then I'm like, okay, dope, like I've done my job. I don't like working on pieces for too long. Like I would much rather underwork a piece than overwork a piece. That makes sense. So yeah, once the piece kind of lets me know, like, yo, I think we did what we had to do, and that's sick. Let's call it. Move on. The visual history of a civilization is the best way for us in the present moment to know what they were about, what their concerns were, what their principles were, what was important to them. Human beings have always been visually documenting their experiences for whatever reason, and the way that we learn about those cultures is by like analyzing those visual remnants, right? Like if you want to learn about a civilization in a new country, the best thing for you to do is go to the museum. You go to the museum because the museum uses all of the cultural artifacts that are either like visual representations or physical representations in the form of sculpture that show you what that civilization held as cultural importance. Our emotions, bro. Like, what were we really feeling during these times? Like, what were our emotional concerns as a people? I don't really think that like politics and like, yeah, man, like the traditional categories that artists like put themselves into are really going to be important for much longer. So I choose to more focus on the mental and like psychological like identity of us now and reflect that. So when people look back, they can almost get this understanding of what we were feeling now, instead of like maybe what we were thinking or what we were doing or how we were behaving. I think what we were feeling is like what I want people to look back and take away from my work. I'm painting for the future. I'm not necessarily painting for the present. So if I'm painting for the future, what does it mean to be like outcast right now by people in the present moment who are only thinking about the present moment? It's actually like by design that I'm not understood right now. You know, it's by design that like I don't fall into the traditional mechanics of the gallery system and the art world right now, because I'm not creating artwork for the people of today. People's misconception on like selling out is like, for some reason as artists we have this resistance towards like making money from our art because there's some weird like emotional connection, which we should like really work towards redefining, bro. Like, if I'm selling out, it's because I have something worth selling and worth somebody wanting to buy. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna lose like my creative integrity. I'm using my creative talent and ability to like create like financial stability in my life for myself and my family. Like, so what? Like, isn't that what everybody wants? You know, like, don't we all wanna know that like we're not gonna go hungry or like ask to borrow money or like not have money for rent or a place to stay? So this whole thing of like demonizing people who sell out is like, I think, absolutely stupid. I definitely grew up feeling very lonely, feeling very misunderstood, and I don't see it as that anymore, you know, like, because it gives me the mental space and the clarity and like the solitude to maybe bring ideas to light or to the surface that I need to be alone to do. You know, I think there's so many things, again, the ideas, the antenna, the universal like signal and frequency system only really like works when you are alone, not when like you're surrounded by people, when you're like surrounded by conversation and distraction. Like, solitude and loneliness for me is like the definition of distractionless. And once I'm like free from distraction, then I'm like super open, super receptive, either to create or even just to rest and be, in that quietness and in that solitude. So for me, I can't say that like loneliness is something that I suffer from anymore because of how I perceive it. I'll show you the storeroom in a sec. But bro, I mean, the artwork's hanging in the house. I think there's like 40 of my pieces. In the studio, I think I have another 40 artworks. Here, like another 10. So bro, I'm holding like over 100 paintings that I've done. This is usually where I put the unframed pieces. There is a lot of work here, as you can see, canvases. This is where I stack all my framed artworks and prints. So that's where the magic happens. There's not much going on in here because I'm not really in production mode, as I like to say. But we do have some canvases up here that have been finished. This one was our most recent artwork that we finished today. Some smaller works on paper over there. Yeah, this is where I paint. This is where we do interviews. This is where we create. It's not massive, but it's all the space I really need to do what I love. And this is what I would call clean as a studio for now. It does get crazier than this, but this is where we're at right now. Samurai Farai home studio. The best way to arrive at your visual language or your visual identity is to kind of look at like 3 to 5 artists who inspire you the most. Look and identify the variables or the characteristics and traits of their work and themselves that you resonate with or find most inspiring, and then even go deeper and find 3 people or individuals or artists that inspired them. Once you've done this like ritual or practice, you're looking at over like 20 to 30 individuals who all exist within an ecosystem of inspiration, and you can almost see the golden thread, right? So in that quote and in that notion of theft, there is an intense requisition of learning and research and education that needs to occur. Good theft occurs when you as an individual become more learned from that theft. You become smarter and more wiser or knowledgeable as to what you're stealing, right? And I think any good thief does research, but I think me as an artist, anybody who I claim as an inspiration, bro, I've studied intensely. There's the people who inspire me, there's the people behind them who inspired them, and there's the people behind those other people which I've done the research on to understand how they arrived there. So that's like my biggest advice to like young artists and artists in general is like, if you're gonna call somebody an inspiration of yours, like actually care, do the research, find out how they arrived there. And at the end of the day, I also believe that nothing can ever be a copy. The only person that can create that artwork is that individual. Only Picasso can create a Picasso, that's why it's a Picasso. If you today decide to paint Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, it will be your rendition of that painting. It will never be a Picasso. If I decide to paint a Basquiat painting today, it will not be a Basquiat painting, it will be my rendition of that painting. The work that you create is created by you, even if it's a copy, even if it's theft, but there's a lot of power in that. So I think when people understand like everything that you create is originally you understand like, oh damn, you can't really copy, like no matter how hard you try, because it's always being processed through like your imagination factory. than what I usually do. Okay. And yeah, bro, again, I'll just be like super like critical of myself, like, okay, what are you looking at? How do the lines flow with one another? What looks good? What do I like? What don't I like? For me, I think this is fucking beautiful. I can already see it like stretched and framed. I like how like all the colors like cascade against one another, with one another. I love the mark making. Love the scratching. I love the layers.